Welcome to Too Many Minis. My name's Ossie, and today I'm joined by Curtis,
Hi.
George,
Hello.
and Jake.
Hello.
And I hope that if the arrow pointing doesn't work out because it comes up in a different way when it's saved, I'll just look mad.
It is
like
what
I
it
don't
is.
know who you are.
It worked
Um,
for me until George and Jake.
Yeah, I don't think it's consistent between everybody.
No.
So this is going to be the first of our what I'm calling Middle Earth Matters. I was going to call it Middle Earth Monthly, but then I was like, what if we don't do it, or what if we do
Yeah,
two?
that commits, doesn't it?
So Middle Earth Matters to be a bit Alan Partridge, um, where we just talk through some current things. Middle Earth Matters, and the first thing's got to be the elephant in the room, the Defense of the North supplement, which we've been saying for a long time is like just about here, right? Like it's.
Ozzy, you owe me 50p, don't you?
I do owe you 50p because it didn't come out when I said it was going to come out.
Every Sunday. Every Sunday. Oh, this is the
Every
one.
Sunday, yeah. To be honest, it's probably a lot of 50p's now. Um, but we've just seen the wind lance added for that, and we think that probably counts as a new profile, right? Like that's because the wind lance is only an option for Girion or Bard previously, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I expect so. I suppose it'll allow them to use it in sort of the third age Dale armies, which they seem to be pushing in new supplement, and then also people can throw it into their old Girion lists as well, and not have him be stuck on it.
Yeah, and it must be a new model of the Windlance as well. I mean, I haven't looked at them side by side, but it's not going to be a fine cast existing Windlance with a couple of Forge World guys chucked in, is it?
So I was looking at it, and because I got the old one,
Right.
And it looks almost identical, even to the pose of Bard versus the new Dale captain or whoever's going to be piloting it.
Right.
So it might be a new model, but obviously you can only stray so far from what it's supposed to look like, right?
Yeah.
Copied really from the original, which is good. It's nice that they've kept that, because like sometimes like Rohan, like the old Rohan models compared to the World God models, the old Minas Tirith models, plastic ones, compared to the Elite, there's like sort of scale differences.
Yeah.
So it's nice that they've kept that.
Yeah.
And I also think it's good, like for instance, if you're playing Dale and you want to get a Windlance for Girion, you've got to buy Bard with Windlance, right? And then chuck Bard away, right? You know, like if now you can buy this Windlance kit and you can run it with Girion in a Hobbit era, you know, or pre-Hobbit era, and you can run it with the New Kings or without, you know. So that I think it's a good addition, like good rounding out the army, but it's not very exciting, is it? Like it's.
I don't like siege weapons, so I wasn't pleased to see it, especially in a list that's already quite good at shooting.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I have a suspicion that in the Legendary Legion, instead of you being able to take the twirly whirlies, what are they called? The Iron Hills
Yeah, the
Ballista.
ballista
Yeah, okay, so instead of being able to take those, you'll instead be able to take Wind Lancers in the Iron Hills Dale Legendary Legion.
Yeah,
I think
like
that will be
the Defense of the North Legendary Legion kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And you think it means that we're more likely to see an Easterling siege engine? Like they want to give everyone one?
I hadn't thought of that.
I hope not.
Yeah, I really hope not.
Although in the films you do see an Easterling next to a catapult. So
you really?
Yeah, it's like the only time the scene on Pelennor Fields, it's like a little cut scene, and he's like walks past the catapult, and it's the only time Eastlings were actually at Pelennor Field in the films, other than.
I wonder if the extras sort of run out of costumes, and they were like, "This battle's got to look busy."
I thought you saw them behind the trolls at the gate or something, like in the background, like just filing into Minas Tirith. But yeah, they like teleported to there. They didn't actually walk across the fields. No, I kind of don't think everyone needs a siege engine. Although I'm definitely up for Hobbit siege engines. I think that could be really themey, right? Do you know what I mean? Like a little kind of cabbage chucker. Do you know what I mean? Like a turnip catapult or something. You know?
I'm so game for that. Like a
Yeah.
cabbage chucker.
Yeah.
You know what, Ozzy? You make yourself a cabbage chucker. Put it on the battlefield. You know, give it like sort of dwarf ballista rules. Sort of change them up a little bit.
I think just Mordor catapult rules, but quarter the range and strength 1.
Strength 1.
And but instead of severed heads, it can be gone off cabbages.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, rotten cabbage,
rotten veg, or healthy fresh veg.
And instead of a casualty when they fail the courage test, just transfix the turn. Just that bad
transfix
smell.
going. That cabbage.
Yeah.
Mate,
that could be pretty lethal.
Yeah, I'm up for it. Hit us up, Games Workshop. We all want another Hobbit supplement. So we had the Dale Captains as well. You know, that's not a new profile. So by my counting, right, if they said there's going to be 16 new profiles in this Defense of the North book, then with the Windlance, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Like, I think there's 4 left.
Did they say there's 16 new ones?
16 new profiles.
And are we expecting 8 goodies and 8 baddies?
Oh,
not necessarily.
Not necessarily. How are we looking there? 1, 2, 3. No, it's less baddies at the moment.
We've got 4 baddies at the minute.
I think it'll be more Eastlings driven. That's what I think it will be.
You reckon?
Yeah.
I think there might be a little gobbo in there.
Well, here's the thing. If we've only got 4 slots left, right? Things we think we're getting. Bjorn, Grimbjorn.
Yeah, of course.
Right?
Yeah,
they did hint at Bear, so it's either him or Bjornings, right? We think we might get Orofin, the 3rd Lothlorien brother.
That would be a big missed opportunity if he doesn't come out, yeah.
And we know that Forge World put out 2 packs of regular-sized heroes, right? So Grimbjorn with a bear, that's a pack, right?
Yeah.
Orofin needs another relevant hero, and to me, that if they're doing a combined Mirkwood and Lothlorien army, you've got to look at some sort of Mirkwood hero, right? Like a Thranduil's Hall hero of some sort.
And it's like a named spellcaster. They've thrown a couple of spellcasters about. And
Yep.
Like a named shaman.
Yep, I think something like that, or a kind of combat hero. You know, with the Easterling one, you've got a combat hero and a shaman. The Orc's got a combat hero and a shaman, sort of thing. You know, so one of those. But that's 3.
Something left field doesn't necessarily have to be that. Orofin, Howdy, and Rumil could be a plastic set. I don't think so.
I don't think they've
because
got
Howdy is a pretty big hero because he does,
he's big film-wise, isn't he?
Chubby, yeah, he's really chubby. Good point. For an elf. But that's 3 profiles, right? If you have a bear profile that they've hinted at, bear with us, etc., 2 elves, that only leaves 1 slot left, and for Moria, you know what I mean? So, Moria's got to be at least a 2-pack because they're tiny. You know what I mean?
Moria has so much already, though. Moria has there's lots.
It's quite fleshed out, yeah.
Lots of stuff in there already. I think. Like they did with Dunland, just adding different types of profile to make a list more versatile, I suppose. That's what I think. And I personally think there's been a lot of talk of dragons. Black dragons, Dragon Emperor. I think there's going to be a dragon Easterling. That's what I think.
A dragon.
That's what I think is going. Or something similar to.
Like an Eastern Fire Drake or something.
Yes. I've got my hopes on because I'm writing a list for it. So I mean, I hope
how many points? Yeah, how many points have you set aside for it?
60, strength 10, defense 10.
A 60-point dragon sounds bad.
They could do something where they use the profile. So they have a new profile for like Easterling Dragon, but they use the same model. That would get away from the requiring a 2-pack or whatever. I don't think they would, though.
I don't think they want to encourage people to use their old Finecast models. Do you know what I mean? I don't think they want a kind of big sales boost for their for their cave drakes or dragons or something, I think they would rather have a new model for that if they were going to be pushing sales on it.
Yeah.
Especially when they're doing things like Black Dragon models that kind of no one asked for and stuff. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, oh well, that's a profile that didn't have a model, but there's a lot of them, those kind of upgrade profiles.
Yeah.
I don't think they are going to get a dragon, and the main reason is because let's say they take a dragon, it's 300 points. The Dragon Emperor is going to be what, 250 maybe. Then suddenly it's an and or, like it's an or situation instead of an and situation, and maybe they won't want people to do that because typically you buy one instead of the other, not both. So.
Yeah, if it's one legendary legion as well, I guess like there's an element of you can make a case from the books for the Dragon Emperor or something. You know, you can sort of infer that, but an actual dragon, you know, there's not many around by this point, so that would be quite a reach. It'd be fun though. It'd be fun.
Yeah, more, it was more. Sorry, go on.
Jake's not convinced.
I just think like this thing that if they do Grimbeorn, that's one profile, and there are 3 left. 3 doesn't fit very well with the release schedule. Do you know what I mean? Like with the way they release things. So say there were 2 elves, that would leave a 1, and a 1 would be a dragon, or a 1 would be a, you know what I mean? Like a 1 new profile on its own.
I think Bjornings then.
Yeah,
I would love that because it's really ambiguous in the books as to whether they are skin changes like Bjorn.
What are Bjornings? Who is Grimbjorn? I don't know these.
All right, Grimbjorn is the son of Bjorn who turns up during the War of the Ring. He turns up at the gates of Erebor, and I think he slays somebody, much like like Bjorn does in the Hobbit book. He turns up when Dane has been killed and the old Brand has been killed, and he comes in and kills one of the bad guys, I guess the Eastling guy or whatever. And the Beornings are just like the general followers of Bjorn, and there's nowhere does it let you know, are they just men who follow this big bear guy, or are they also skin changers like him? Are they werebears? So we don't know. And they could, I mean, if I was making a game, I'd go for the werebear option, you know?
Yeah.
But they'd be quite powerful, right? Like a unit of bear werewolves.
How would you model that though? Would you have swap-in models as well, similar to Bjorn? Would the pack come with say 4, two of the man version, 2 of the bear versions?
It's not very.
That
efficient,
seems really clunky.
Yeah.
You'd probably just make them always in bear form. Just give them 2 attacks, 2 wounds, similar to a half troll profile sort of thing.
Or like maybe one of them's like transforming, like you know, like he's transforming into a bear.
You're asking for a lot there, aren't you? You're asking for a lot from their sculptors.
It's that kind of. They could do it. Those guys are heroes. If they've done it, they've already done it. So you know, I'm not asking a lot. I'm asking for them to have already done that.
Oh, okay. And if they've already done it, then it's possible.
So what are you thinking? Bjorn, Bjornings, Orphan, Mirkwood Elf as the 4?
I think that's really plausible. Like I feel like they really want to give something to the elves, right? And if they're going to give something to the elves, it's got to be Orphan. But this we've got the big elephant in the room is plastic kits. Every supplement has had a plastic kit. Every sizable supplement has had a plastic kit, you know, with a dice set and everything. There's no obvious terrain kit for this one. Like we had a terrain kit with Fall of the Necromancer or Rise of the Necromancer or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
We've had those plastic kits, even if they've been delayed or whatever. There's just no obvious plastic kit for this one.
I think there's one obvious one that I would pick, and that is a Kellerborn Galadriel plastic kit. I know there's been numerous other models of them, but you can make that argument about the 3 hunters and whatever.
Yep.
They're both very well, especially Galadriel is very prevalent across, you know, Fellowship and in the Hobbit as well. So everyone knows Galadriel, and then Kellerborn is just like a tag on. So they could do that plastic kit.
It could be a 3-pack with Thranduil as well, because we don't have a plastic Thranduil.
They could do that, but I don't think it's necessarily going to be a Lothlorien and Mirkwood Legendary Legion. I think there might be 2 Legendary Legions.
Also,
2 elf ones.
we are nearing the release of the series, which has Galadriel in, so they might be modeling the new actress on this new model, possibly.
Oh,
Would
that's
they
all
do that?
licensed stuff.
Ooh,
or-
but I know what you mean. Like her stock is rising as a character. Like she's kind of got yeah, she's gonna have a bigger profile in the next year.
Yeah, hopefully.
That's interesting. I mean, the thing about the Legendary Legions is, I think again they confirmed how many Legendary Legions there are, and there wasn't much room for. Was it six, right?
6 legendary legions, but recently they've said that there is going to be some pre-War of the Ring stuff in the book.
They said there'd be an appendix. Yeah.
Oh, there'll at least be one appendix legendary legion, then, won't there? Like Helm.
But that could be a 7th, or that could be included in the 6.
Yeah, I think if it's 6, it's hard to squeeze in separate ones for the 2 elves because we know we've got 2 orc ones. We've got to have at
2
least
orcs.
we've got to have at least one defense of the north kind of Erebor one, you know. So it's either Erebor and Dale or just Erebor.
It would be Erebor and Dale, surely.
Yeah, I think
and
so.
Then,
so that's 3.
and then you got Eastling one, obviously. That's 4.
Definitely got Eastling one. That's 4.
2 elves.
And 2 elves.
5, 6.
But no, that's no appendix one, right?
Bjornings?
No appendix
The
one.
Bjornings? What if the Bjornings legendary?
I can't see that being its own thing because they never really have a history of kind of like fighting that we know about, like going to battle. It's just that they just like patrol their own area, and they've turned up twice to help out in a big battle in Dale, basically.
Okay.
So I don't
What
know.
is it that Simon wants? An actual woodsman model. Is that him that wants it?
I want that. I want
You
that.
want that?
Simon likes his woodman because he'd like to run them with Radagast. You know, like he
Okay.
pictures Radagast as living in a kind of woodsman commune in the woods.
Right.
Yeah, I would like the militia men, but that's the other thing. Beornings could just be just burly men with axes. You know what I mean? Kind of tough guys, quite hairy.
Oh, I think that could be the case.
It could be, but we have, you know what I mean, like a fair few things like that. Like if you imagine, what's the really buff Dunland hero called?
Gorolf.
Gorolf. You imagine like a little unit of Gorolfs, you know what I mean, to fight alongside a bear. It'd be cool.
Yeah.
It's definitely stuff we've already seen.
Yeah, fair.
In terrain kits, then, do you think there'll be a terrain kit in this one? You were saying there, Ossie.
I don't know. I just think there'll be a plastic kit, and I think no, I can't see a terrain kit option unless they were going to do like the Gates of Erebor.
No, Dale. They could do a Dale one.
Dale, yeah.
They could do Dale like they've got Lake Town houses and Rohan houses.
Oh, it'd be all over
they
that.
could do
like,
a Dale Tower.
Yeah, because I like Dale's some of my favorite scenery in the films. I was thinking about making a Dale board, and I was like, oh my god, the amount of work doing all of that. If they'll do a kit, then sweet, I'm in. You know, like with optional like domed roofs and nice.
I've changed my opinion. I no longer think it's Galadriel and Celeborn. I think we're going to have Dale scenery.
I think you're right. I think Galadriel, Celeborn, possibly Thranduil, to make it a decent sized plastic kit. I think 3 on foot is reasonable for a plastic kit. That's possible. Was that?
Dice? Would you think they're going to do like a themed dice as well, possibly?
Easterling dice, 100%.
Oh yes, what a shout! Red and gold.
Yeah, because like you look at the Necromancer box came with, you know, Dol Guldur dice. The plastic Witch King came with the Witch King dice. Easterlings are way more popular than that stuff, you know, like Easterlings are.
I'd be all over
really...
that. I'd be buying 2 sets.
Yeah, I definitely.
Oh, big spender.
2 sets, yeah.
And then sell them 4 weeks later for £100 each.
The last few haven't really picked up their value yet. The last few
everyone bought a set, didn't they?
Everyone's clued up to it, you know.
Yeah, not many people I play against are not rolling their Angmar dice, or even Fangorn, who were really, really popular. Always, I refuse to roll my Fangorn dice. I don't think they roll higher than a 4, but whenever I play against them, keep seeing those leaves.
Other people got the good ones. The good
other people think they've got the good ones. I just refuse to roll mine. If George bought any, I'd refuse to roll those as well. His 6s only turn up 12% of the time.
Yeah, that's been proven.
I'd love some Erebor or Dale dice, but I don't quite think we'll get them. Like it, I think Easterlings are the big seller from this expansion. Do you know what I mean? I think they're the ones.
They're certainly trying to push that way, aren't they? I think, rightly so. You know, I think Eastlings have been in need of some love.
And they're so popular. The aesthetic, people absolutely
Yeah.
love it. I actually really like turning on my Instagram and seeing just reams of people's different color schemes for Easterlings. I think it's I find it a bit like the Dwarves of Khazad-dûm. Even though you suppose you do see these in the film, so they do have a set color scheme. The whole armor and cloth aesthetic sort of lends themselves to people really being expressive with
trying things out.
Yeah,
I think they've got the plastic kits. Do you know what I mean? That the people like and use. Do you know what I mean? They've got the right basic plastic kits for their army. Whereas, I don't know, you look at something like Throughout Wheels Halls, where the core unit you might want to have is a resin unit, and you know what I mean. Like they are, really strong for that. I can't see us getting Iron Hills dice in this instance or whatever. You know what I mean? So I think Easterling dice.
The other thing about with the Orofin pack and everything, and you're saying pairing it with Mirkwood Elf, they could be doing new sculpts for Haldir and potentially Rumil. So not a new profile, but a new sculpt, and then do those three brothers together. That'd be quite cool. I'd be up for that.
I'd buy that.
We've had those funny, they did a couple of orcs again, didn't they? They did. Was it Grishnak and?
Snaga.
Yeah, when they brought
Snaga, they got a new Grishnak out to improve that model. I could see that. I could see like a new model with a resculpt. I don't think Haldir really needs it because he's got a lot of models, hasn't he? He's got 4 or something.
It hasn't stopped them with Gandalf.
I'm sorry. I mean, I know people like Haldir, but Haldir's no Gandalf, all right? Like,
Sorry, that was a stretch.
He's in the books. He's a guy who goes, "Who are you? Stop here. Wait here. We'll take you to the lady." Obviously in the films he's got a bit more going on, but doesn't look like an elf.
How many sculpts does he have already? 3. Has he got unarmored elf like bow pose, armored bow pose, and armored sword pose?
He's got unarmored sword pose as well. So he's got unarmored with 4. Unarmored with sword.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a lot for that guy.
Yeah, I don't imagine him getting another one then. So maybe not. Or maybe an Orofin Rumil pack, just the brother pack. Because Rumil's only got 1 pose, right?
Yeah, and it's not available at the minute, I don't think.
No, all that stuff will have to come back out if they're going to include it in any kind of Legendary Legion. They'll want to get those Guard of the Galadriel Court or whatever back out.
Yeah,
I see Haldir being in a pack, to be honest. I know he's had a few different poses, but he's one of the, not main character in the film, but people get attached to him because what happens. So
that could even be a plastic. You could have Kellerborn, Galadriel, Haldir plastic. You could have that. But I don't know.
Well, I'm really interested to see whether or not Haldir is going to be in a Lothlorien Legendary Legion, because obviously in the book he is, like, he's there, but in the film he's dead.
He's dead. Yeah, that's true. That's a kind of mark against Haldir getting a new model. Because
what are they going to do with him?
Yeah,
spirit model.
And it's weird as well because they can't use the film likeness, surely, to represent someone who's dead in the book or who's alive in the. I mean, like they have it's the book version, but it looks like the film version. I don't know.
How much do you think they think people love Haldir? Because in the is it the Quest of the Ringbearer book? You have 2 versions of the Battle of the Black Gate, don't you? You have the film version, and then you've got the 2 hills for the book version. And,
right.
it talks about, choose, you can play both, or either the book or follow the story of the film.
Yeah.
And I wonder maybe if they'll just throw Haldir in there, just sort of, will anyone notice, or even sort of point to it, be like, oh, we know Haldir died, but you can follow the story in the book.
Yep, they could do that.
I hope they do. I hope they do, because typically I like to follow the books where I can.
He may have died already in the books. I mean, we just don't know. We don't get an update on Haldir's status. Do you know what I mean? Like he may have fallen down a hole or something. I mean,
yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean they are immortal, but it doesn't stop them from accidents, does it?
Not at all. They live by a river. It's quite dangerous.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure there's crime in Lothlorien.
No.
No,
No.
no, sorry, too far.
Only when
That's
only
too
when
far.
Boromir is there. That's the only. You bring your trouble with you, or whatever it is. Sam says.
This meeting is being recorded.
So, touching next on tournaments we've been having and coming up. George, you were at Seven Stones on the weekend, right?
I was at Seven Stones. Had a great time.
They look
Very-
great, man. The pictures are hilarious.
Yeah. You can't actually. Well, you can see me in most of them, but you will never recognize me because I'm wearing the Witch King helmet.
Oh, that's you. Is that your personal helmet, or is that something that was handed to you when you got there?
No, that's mine. I had it for a Halloween costume many years ago. Where I had all the robes and everything then as well, and I fully dressed up for it. And in all the photos, I'm just a silhouette. You can't even see me. But I've since lost the robes, which is very unfortunate, and I didn't really have enough time to do a full get up, so I just had the crown. I just went there with the crown.
I bet you were glad it was just the crown though, like moving between tables and.
Yeah, kind of. Although the crown was the worst part because you can't see and you can't hear in it, so you just sat there, sort of like I was having to get Reese to explain to me what's happening.
Yeah, but you've got 3 attacks now, though, haven't you? And you can re-roll your magic, can't you? So you don't need to hear. And
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Although I was controlling the mimic, so I just had my 4 dice for my tramples.
That's good stuff. And how did you do in the end? I can't remember. How did you have like competitively?
So it's organized first into you're put in like a pool, and then depending on where you place in the pool, you go into like a playoff for different things. So me and Reese, we won 1, drew 1, and lost 1 in our pool, which meant actually we came second in the pool. So we got put into the plate, and then we won our first game and lost our subsequent 2 games, which I think overall puts us in like 12th or something, even though we only won 2 games.
So we had some good showings for the London Wargaming Guild. Like
yes, yeah, we did.
Who came second?
It was Danny and James.
Danny and
James,
second. Yeah.
Which is mad because they only got tickets like last minute, didn't they? Was it the Friday?
They did. Like apparently they're camel riders and Watchers of Khan just tore up. It was amazing.
Wow.
Right. And there was a lot of Mumacs there, right? Like, because you had a Mumac, and then Theo and Archie had 2.
Yep, they're double Mumac in their fancy dress as well. They dressed up as elephants. That was great.
That was good to see.
And then I think there was 1 more Mumac there. But yes, some of the tables weren't brilliant to have great beasts on. So in our final game, we were on Ammon's Soul, so like the ruined watchtower or whatever. And yeah, an elephant can't. So you just like walking around.
Elephant can't get up a watchtower. No way.
No way. But yeah, no, it was great fun. All the boards were amazing. It was just just a fantastic event. And it's nice because I like to play the game well, but it's nice just to go to an event and not care. Like if I'm rolling well, if I'm rolling badly, it doesn't matter.
How were your 6s? Were they worse or better than 12%?
Well, I only needed 3, so I wasn't counting 6s.
Okay.
A Mummock Trample, you're only looking for the 3.
But for those who don't know, George has tested his how many dice?
Oh, I've tested at least 12 different dice.
12 different dice to see how many 6s they get, to see whether it's what you'd expect. What you'd expect, 16.6%?
Yeah, 16.67.
And what did you consistently get through?
12%. I think it must be my rolling technique.
12% across your dice. And how many times did you test each one?
300.
300 times. That's a pretty good sample.
If it's too small a sample, then you can't say any of your results are significant. Yeah, that's the point.
Got a lot of time on your hands, Coach.
This man's statistics.
Yeah, no, I've come to the conclusion it must be my technique. I obviously just throw it wrong.
I've
Yeah.
got so much time for your technique. You cup it in your hand and then you let it go, and that's the most random it can be. No one's throwing it down the 6 side. No one's.
It's this one that everyone does. It's like they have it like that, and then they try and like move their hand out from underneath, like
Yeah,
like
the tablecloth.
yeah, like a tablecloth. Yeah, like as if you're trying to just leave the dice where it is.
Yeah,
Or you put the
yeah.
6 up on the top, and then just like yeah.
Might have to try that one.
It's hard with a handful of dice. I definitely don't have the skill of doing it. And Curtis, you and George are both going to Winchester this weekend, right?
We are, yeah, the City of Kings.
And you're actually working on your display board right now. You're not
right
just
now.
kind
Yeah,
of...
I'd love to pick it up and show you, but I've made the mistake because I was expecting to put it up to the camera, but I've just put the second layer of resin in my lakeside. So yeah, that's not going to dry for another 20.
Don't pick that up. You're dripping resin all over your coffee table. Terrible. That'd be awful.
I'm making my display board. I'm doing Mirror. So the army that I'm taking is Kingdom of Moria, and according to the lore, I've got this from, what is it, Tolkienpedia or something.
Yeah.
But Balin dies at Durin's Stone, apparently, at the Eastern Gate. So I figured Balin will die a fair bit. 800-point event. He's got 2 wins and 1 fate. So my display board is to signify his place of death. And of course, it's the lake that Gimli comes to and stops to look at, and the hobbits ask him, you know, what is he looking at? And it's a place where whichever Durin looked in, and he looked into the lake, and he saw the crown on his head, which took him into Khazad-dûm.
It's going to be great. And when Balin does die, you can just take him off the board and put him next to the stone.
Yeah.
There you go. Die there.
Oh, no, you got to have Balin's tomb and put that next to the stone when he dies.
Or you could just leave him. You could take Balin off the board and just put the tomb down. Like, he's dead. Here lies Balin, son of Fundin, Lord of Moria.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
And what are you taking, George? You're taking Numenor.
So I'm taking my Numenor Lothlorien alliance that I've been trialing. I've done 6 practice games with it and won twice. So it's not the best record, but
that's bad odds for you.
Yeah, I know, but I actually think the army's got potential. I have already finished my terrain piece, but that's because it's very, very simple because I'm not very good. But yeah,
you got to take a terrain piece. Is that like a thing?
Yeah, I think yeah. If you take a terrain piece, you get more victory points, and you can play it on the table. I think maybe they're struggling with getting terrain at the event.
That's a good way of doing it. Like crowdsource it.
It's quite cool.
BYOT.
You can place it if it's below a certain size, and before you roll for which side you pick, you can put it on the table as long as it's not like 6 inches from a board edge or the center of the board, which is pretty cool. I imagine there's a lot of elf players putting forests down. Make sure they get that wooden creature.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, yeah. I'll get it quickly actually because it's just there. It's quite easy for me to get.
So George and I had one of those practice games with him, and it was Storm the Camp, and he had his Numenorians in the front. I don't know, he had his elf bows in the front or something, and Numenorian bows. Everyone has spears behind. He sort of crowded around his, about 6 inches in front of his camp, and my little dwarf legs just had to go towards him. Just had to sort of close in on him.
And what did your models do?
My models.
Morals.
No, I was just joking about your little dwarf legs.
But yeah, and actually though, the dwarves managed to sink a victory, didn't they? They.
Oh, what is this? Our practice game?
Our practice
game.
Yeah,
you demolished it. You demolished it. Poor Elendil.
Thing is,
got trapped between Balin and Gimli.
Yeah, he did. They both struck up. Managed to get the 10 higher than him.
Yeah, I think I rolled a 1 on my strike off.
Yeah.
How much fate does Elendil have? Just the 1 because he dies. That's all right. Yeah. If you die in the books or the film, then you're lucky to have 1 fate. I mean, you could have 0.
Exactly. Although 0's harsh, cheeky little orc tracker takes you out.
Yeah, no, 0 is really harsh, but some of them have it, don't they?
Yeah, Boromir and Fellowship, I think, is the big main one.
Does.
So
And-
this is
Oh,
it.
nice. Very nice.
Yeah, and it's very practical as well. All the trees are take offable.
Take
What's the
offable.
word? Removable. That's
No,
the
take
word.
offable. Yeah.
Take offable.
Take offable.
Yeah, I've tried to make it as practical as possible, and it's made out of real dead leaves because I didn't have to then paint it because it's got natural
Nice.
color variation.
Is it not going to sort of decompose?
I'm hoping the PVA keeps all that in, certainly for the event.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's only got last.
And Jay, have you got tournaments coming up? What's your next one?
I have not got a lot coming up. The one Audicon in August is the nearest one I can find in my diary. I was meant to be going to the team championships at Curtis, but I've had to pull out. Basically, I'm going on 3 holidays over the next 2 months, so I'm absolutely skint. So been reined in until the end of the year.
I thought it was another wedding. I thought,
They're also killing us.
yeah.
Jay can't go to any more weddings unless people start getting divorced. They've all got to be married by now.
I think you've been to more weddings than I've got, friends. Yeah.
Popular guy. I've got another one this weekend.
Yeah, that's mad, isn't it? There's last minute ticket. You're like, oh yeah, I fancy that. Jess is like, no, you're not.
You should just tell all your friends, like, listen, next time you're booking a wedding, could you please look at the GBHL schedule, please? It's on the Facebook group. It's no excuse.
Audicon's on my 30th birthday, and it was a big ask to get that off to go to Audicon instead of going to Paris with my girlfriend. So I'll settle for that.
Priorities.
Yeah. She was like, do you want to go to Paris for your 30th? I was like, yeah. Well, not actually on my 30th. I'm in Manchester.
I'd love to.
The weekend after, please. Yeah.
The weekend after. It's better to go when you are 30. You'll appreciate it more. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. I'll be more cultured. I'm
more cultured, and you'll appreciate.
I wondered if there was like van hire laws or something. You had to be 30 to
Oui, bien sûr. They don't actually serve you alcohol in France until you're 30.
Yeah, I'll use that one as well.
It's better to be 30 then.
They actually give it to 5-year-olds, don't they? Anyway, and we've got more exciting tournaments coming up throughout the year. I mean, Ardicon's going to be really big. You're going to Ardicon. That's what you're taking to that. Have you decided what you're taking?
Yeah, so I'm going to actually take canned Eastlings. So it'll be King on. My canned is King on Chariot, another Chariot in like about 8 to 10 horsemen. I don't know, maybe less depending on. I can't decide yet. But then Eastlings will be the 2 new Eastling heroes, and then something else battering in that. So I don't know how it's going to work yet. I had a game with them last week, and I got absolutely slaughtered. So I don't know. I really don't know. I might get the Dragon Emperor when that comes out, depending on points.
How did you find Rutabi with the old Master of Battle?
Oh, well, the Master of Battle worked once, and then he got charged by Aragorn and killed in one turn. So I didn't really get to use him very much.
Yeah.
So and then the Brogia, the caster, kept on forgetting to channel Fury like every single turn.
No, that was you. You forgot. It wasn't Borgia that forgot. It was you.
Well, it's his fault. You should be telling us. I just kept on forgetting, and couldn't. So I didn't really utilize them the best I could. And I had Camul in there as well. I was an 800-point game, so I had Camul in there as well because I thought I'd test him out, and he wasn't that great, to be honest. I know Curtis, you said you've got to take him on the
I love him.
Albeast, but
he's my favourite hero, Mike Camul. I absolutely love. If I can work him into a Mordor list, I get him in there. I love him on Feldbeast. The getting the will back for doing the killing. It really encourages you to get him stuck in there. His magic is awful, but just throw dice at it. If you throw dice at a compel, get the 5 on a cavalry unit or something, pull him out 5 inches, get the Fell Beast in there. Fell Beast will definitely get at least 2 of those will back.
But doesn't it have to be his dice that causes the wound?
Yeah, but you can use the strength and the attacks of the Felbeast because it's a cavalry That's how cavalry
Can
work.
you? Oh, right.
Yeah.
I was like, I had him mounted just on an armored horse, but I was differentiating his strikes. So if you got a charge off, I had his own dice and then the extra attack.
But on the charge, you're
You don't need to do that.
doubling his attacks. You're adding 1 to his attacks.
Yeah, I know. I realised how stupid that was when I said it there.
Horse gets an attack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Camel's horse is very spiky.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love him. I think persevere. I mean, it might be a lot of points to get the cans, the new heroes, a couple of Easterlings in all in one list. You might be trying to do too much with that, but I back you to persevere with Kamal.
Okay.
And Jake, with that army, you can do the thing I want to pull off most, but I've had none of the models, so I can't. You can do the Brogir, Khandish King, Heroic Combat, kill everything combo. You do the Enchanted Blades.
Yeah.
So you re-roll in the combat phase, you get to re-roll strikes, and that's the wording. And then if you channel it, you get the +1 on the strike as well. And then you can do the Khandish King trample hits, which then get to re-roll with +1s only in the fight phase. So you have to call the heroic combat. So it's difficult to pull off, but if you can do it, that'd be amazing.
I mean, deadly.
If you call heroic combat and then you hit someone else, you can re-roll those with enchanted blades. The impact hits.
Yes. Current
my
wording, the FAQ, I'm sure will fix this, but current wording, yes, you can, and you get the +1 if you channel it. So it's 2 strength 4 hits with a +1, and you get to re-roll them. So it's 4 dice, needing what, 4 or 5 normally.
So I'm using George's ability to break games to help me win Audicon.
Yeah.
Jake, the only impact hits I've seen you do was against my dwarves, and you called that march, and I was like, oh no. With that march, you could probably run over my whole army. It was very, very low points. And then on the first or second impact hit, I think you rolled like a 1 and a 2, and you were like,
yeah, that's what happens.
That's what always happens to me. These little road bumps just get you. The little guy at the front just goes, nah.
Yeah, because what is it? Is it strength 6 the hits?
Strength 4.
Strength 4 the hits. Yeah. So on my defense 7 lads, you're needing 6s. They
good. You just want to play against hobbits or ruffians or corsairs or
Goblin
just something.
Town, yeah.
Goblin
Or
Town.
get a +1 with a re-roll.
Yeah.
Yeah, coming to a FAQ near you. And we got a little tournament we're doing called Fantasy Fellowship Secret Wars, which at London Wargaming Guild in Covent Garden in London, in England, in the world. And that's on the 11th of June. I'll put up details of that. I'll probably do a little video about what it's about. But it's basically you put together a fantasy fellowship following roughly the fantasy fellowship rules from Quest of the Ringbearer. You bring them down, they fight against each other, and only one will triumph. And the stupid story is that the Tom Bombadil is like what's he called? The guy from Secret Wars and Marvel Comics, and he's brought everybody from different realities to come and fight it out. It's really silly, but it should be a fun day. And we've got we'll have loads. We can squash everybody in and have nice little tables, 3x3. So I think it's gonna be a fun one. I'll put a proper video up about that, but I'll link it down in the description thing. And then we've got more. Curtis, what have we got coming up later in the year?
Then later in the year, we got GBHL 100 in London for first time in a couple of years. I don't know the facts, but I've been told it's the first GBHL 100 in London for about 6 years. So we're really excited to do that, and it's big credit to sort of the community here in this call, but also sort of just how much that WhatsApp that I joined about 18 months ago now is just sort of ballooned, and we're throwing on events. The fact that we can put on sort of fun, fluffy events like Secret Wars, as well as sort of local LWG ones and late 80s. Sam obviously has history doing that, but now there's a few of us. So yeah, really looking forward to 48-person event in West London in Darksphere, 750 points. So people can bring their toys. And it should be good fun. Obviously, the event page is up. tickets and the event pack aren't up yet, but do keep your eyes peeled. I'm
Yeah.
buzzing for that one.
Follow the page. Again, I'll link that below. Great battle of our time.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one named by yourself.
But it had to be a grandiose, self-important title to fit London. And we're gonna put the link below so you can follow the page and register your interest and be on it when tickets come out. But also we're gonna do a quiz in the evening. We're gonna take up the challenge of Jay Clare's grand quiz at Nottingham, and we're gonna do something there. Bit of multimedia with that, I think. Me and Simon are on the case with the quiz.
I can't wait. I even want to try and rope in people who aren't interested in the game but love Lord of the Rings, because I know it's gonna hit the spot.
Yeah, we could do that. You could bring them down for the evening. Bring down some Tolkien nerds.
And tickets are going to sell really fast on that, given how fast the previous London tournament. They sold 50 tickets in between the Boadur and not Boadur in 15 minutes. So
yeah, it was crazy. So it's well needed, because we all, we've all travelled around for tournaments. There's tons in Nottingham, there's tons in the Greater Manchester area. People are doing them up in Scotland, in the West Country, in Wales. People go all over doing this game, but we haven't had a big tournament in London since, I think, Titans Wargaming back 6-7 years ago, before this edition of the game, really.
Wow.
So I think
that was before I even knew tournaments existed. I only really learned through things like watching stuff on YouTube as I started painting again during lockdown. So to see the community grow even since I joined and pick it back up has been fantastic. We play regularly all the time, don't we? We're Wednesdays, Tuesdays, Mondays. It's become a real scene.
Every day.
Yeah, there's a lot of it. Not every day for George. He's very much the Craig David of Middle-earth. Chill on Sunday, though, don't you? You chill on Sunday. On Sunday. So Curtis, you're working on your display board for your dwarves. George is desperately painting up Numenor and Lothlorien for the weekend, right?
Yeah, and then after that, I've got another 40 models to do Arnor, because in 2 weeks' time, I've got a tournament down in Bristol.
You're doing it all wrong. You're supposed to do one army at a time.
I know. But it was an 800 point and then a 550 point. They lend themselves to different armies.
And Jay, you're still working on your Cand, right? That's not finished, right? And Cand, and then the Easterling bit. The Easterling bit's next, right? That's what's coming in, right?
Yeah. So I've painted. I've base coated the can, put some layers on them, washed them, highlighted them. Just need some touching up, and then Eastling's based basically, and sprayed primed. So they just need painting up. I need to do some conversions to pikes on some of the bowmen, and then they're ready to paint basically, and I'm good to go.
Sorry, go on.
Other than any new models that might come out, which I'll probably have to end up buying.
Yeah. How are you doing your conversions?
It's I'm using Forge Master Minis. Shout out Sam Palmer for his the pike things that he's got on the shield.
Yeah, they're pretty sick actually.
Yeah, and then I've just bought a few of those. Bought 2 packs of them, so I should have some left over, and that'll take me to about 10 pikes. Which, to be honest, I think I might need more. No, so it'll take us to 12 pikes, which I think I might need some more on the list I've wrote. Unless I get Camul and Fellbeast, so many things to do. I need to make a Camul and Fellbeast as well. That's another thing I need to do now.
Yeah.
That's if you want him on a horse as well and foot. That's a lot of Camuls,
I know. I do have a generic Wraith on foot from the Black Rider set, so I can just paint a bit of red on him, and then I'll make it away with that.
Yeah.
I'm still finishing up my Hobbit battle company, partly because there's so many hobbits in a battle company. If it can go up to 25, which is a lot of hobbits. So I don't anticipate it going that high, but I'm just fiddling with hobbits, and I had a bunch painted that were ready, and then I started converting more. And then I liked the converted ones more than the ones I painted. So I was like, okay, let's get the converted ones painted so that I could have a more interesting looking battle company. So, yeah, I'm still with the Hobbits, and then I'm doing a million other things for other game systems because I'm an idiot and I just do loads of stuff at once. But,
I think you can tell by the playlist on your channel just the amount of hobbits
yeah,
going on.
yeah. Look, a little Gretchen. I don't even play 40k, so why am I doing them? But I really like them, so I'm doing them. And one thing we were going, I might stick some pictures in of people's paintings if they send them through. But the other thing we were gonna do today was we were just gonna talk about if you could have one thing added to the game in the future. Could be a rule or a unit or an expansion or something. What's the number one thing you want today? You don't have to stick with it forever, but what would you most want now?
I'll go first, and my thing is expansions to fiefdoms in any way, any named heroes, new units, just something, an expansion to fiefdoms.
Yeah, I'd love that.
It was missed in Gondor at War, in my opinion. So
yeah, it was really passed over that because you could have. I think there's probably more. Actually, we've got a video coming out. We'll do a Simon about unreleased heroes, unreleased named characters. But I think there's more unreleased named characters for the fiefdoms than there is for any other army by about 3 times.
How many named characters are there really in the fiefdoms? Is it just like a long list in the Return of the King of like who turns up?
Yep. There's a long list of them, and then it describes a bunch of people as well. Fisher folk of the Aethir, green-clad men from Henneth Gallin. There's loads of dudes you're just like, they sound cool, and you don't know anything else about them. I mean, they're green-clad, so that's all we know.
I hope there's a fiefdoms book like there was for like the Hobbit. Like a small
one
expansion book. I'm hoping there's a specific, like later on down the line, because I know there's a lot of stuff between.
I'd love that.
Before that, but that's what I'd love.
I would love that.
And in that, I wish they would do a Legendary Legion, which has the 3 hunters, Angbor the Fearless, and then just a bunch of clansmen. Because that is the books. That's the relief force of the books that arrive at Minnesota. Absolutely adore that. I would play that all day, regardless of how good it is.
Yep. I'm totally into that. That's a good one. Approved. Make it happen. How about one of you guys? You got one?
I've got quite a controversial one because it would be a pretty big change. I want there to be half fight values. So like fight value 3.5, fight value 4.5. Because I think 1 to 10 at the moment you can't quite get the difference between fight 3, fight 4, and fight 5. Like, if you know what I mean, like a Numenorian soldier is the same as a Gondor guardsman, and Gondor warrior is the same as a Rohan peasant, sort of thing. Whereas if you went to half values, it's basically like going up to 20. You just increase the range by double, and I think it would like increase the variety a lot more among the troops. I think it
would allow for as well the ring to actually half your fight value as well, rather than sort of half it plus a half.
Yeah, exactly. And like you could, if you stuck with halves, your feinting, so D3, and your strikes, so D6, wouldn't have to change or anything. So it's like minimal rules changes whilst adding a lot more profile changes. But I know that's quite a drastic change because that's something that's not been done.
It would need a new edition, which I don't want. But I do appreciate that kind of extra granularity would add a lot in it, especially for hero combat. You know, that thing where you're like, oh, my captain's the same as your best hero. That's no, like, just have him a 0.5, you know, above, like.
Yeah, exactly. Like Aemir could be fight 5.5, so better than other fight 5 heroes, but worse than Aragorn still. And Aragorn could be a fight 6.5, so like better than Legolas and Gimli.
But he's not a monster.
Yeah, exactly. And then Azog could be fight 5 again, just normal.
Yeah.
I think for my wish, I've said it before. We almost touched on it earlier, but what I really want is just a generic human militia unit that can be played in any human faction. So you can have them in, Rohan. They're just Gondorian peasants. These are just like peasantry taking up arms to defend themselves, because I feel like that's the major thing about the War of the Ring is it's not just a medieval style bunch of like lords fighting with their trained warriors. It's actually the lands being invaded by Sauron and people actually having to defend themselves and stuff. And I think they can go in Dale, they can go in Lake Town, use them as the militia there. You could even have a little Bree force. I would love a Bree faction or a Bree Legendary Legion. Like that would be so good, because the Bree and the Chetwood Archer are actually attacked during the War of the Ring. They have battles, and Butterbur mentions them when they're driving back to the Shire. So I would love that.
Yeah. So at Seven Stones, Matt, I can't remember his second name. Is it Matt Davis from Generation Shift Bases? I can't remember, but he had converted up a whole Bree army using Lake Town militia or survivors of Lake Town, one or the other. And he had done a whole Bree army with board and everything. It was perfect. And he won best army at Seven Stones with it.
Did he have hobbits in there as well?
Yep. Yeah, he had Bob and Nob, I think, and he was using the profiles for Gaffer Gamgee and stuff like that in it. Yeah, I'm sure it'll all be on Facebook. You'll have to have a look.
Oh,
that was gorgeous.
That's incredible. That's a real dream for me. I love Bree. It's like one of my absolute favorite sort of settings in the book.
I think this regular person profile would be so handy as well. Scenario play, like I want to play a Destroy the Supplies, but instead of supplies, hostages.
Yeah.
Like
capture hostages or just kill them.
Just kill the hostages or capture hostages.
They'll defend themselves a little bit, but they'll be useless because they're just civilians. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Like, when they're all tied up, they'll have 3 lots of hostages. They're all tied up, and then when you untie them, they become models that you need to then say get off your end of the board, and they can become combatants at that point, and they've got the profile where they can either try and kill them or recapture them. And I don't know, maybe if they take them but you kill them, but you can kill them before they get them off, then they get fewer victory points. But if you can recapture them, get more stuff like that.
I love that.
Yeah, I really like that idea. I'd love to. I really like this. I really would like to sort of make a campaign tournament where you. So an idea I've had is where you start off at say 250 points, and you're not allowed any named heroes, and it's sort of like a battle company style. You build your force, but the only models that are changing their profile are sort of the captains. So you start at the 250 points. You bring captains, shamans, the King's Champion or Knight of the White Tower, all these unnamed heroes. Your leader sort of immediately gets an additional point of might for the first round, and then in the second one, depending on how they got on in the previous one, can roll on a special faction chart, which gives them sort of, how a lot of factions have like sort of relatively unique special rules, like Easterlings. A few of their heroes have blood and glory, so if you were an Eastling faction, your captain could get blood and glory on the chart, and some factions are more likely to have banner effects, and they could earn those. And then you build up, so then you can add more unnamed heroes, but of course they can only gain special rules after they've completed battles. So your first warband might be a single captain and a warband. Then your second one, you go up to say 400 points. At that point, you can have 2 or 3 captains, but of course that leader will always have the most rules because he's been in the most battles and he'll be the best one. And you do scenarios like that, and you play against, it might be, free, like a Destroy the Supplies variation where you've got to free hostages from Burda and a load of wargs and orcs and stuff. Or, then you could even sort of add it to the fluff that, these unnamed captains are sort of building a name, and, they end up on the Pelennor or whatever, or they end up, in the Defense of the North or anything like that. So I'd love to try and do that. Just 4 scenarios that allow you to build up.
Sign me up. Totally coming to that.
Yeah.
I need to get my rules pack sorted. But yeah, I think
I'll give you a year.
You give me a year, okay? 12 months. That'll be our next year's June tournament. So this year we've got fantasy. This year we got Secret Wars. Next year we can have I don't know what you'd call it, because
it's like a sort of more war version of Battle Companies, right? It's like a kind of muster the troops, the mustering.
Call forth your banners or
Yeah, you're bringing in your bannermen.
or
Legions of War.
Yeah,
Legions
Legions of
of
War.
War.
Where heroes are forged.
Yeah,
Nice.
good. That's a good one. Oh, that can count as your thing. You're
That
adding
can
to the
count as
game
my
well.
thing,
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should probably wrap up, but so we're going to do this as a regular thing. Just talk. There's always lots to talk about in the game. You know what I mean? There's always things coming up, especially with the amount of tournaments going down at the moment.
Always new projects as well. I think Ossie, you can speak first.
I've always got new projects. Yep, definite. And there's plenty to chat about, and we can swap around the team and stuff, and get some different perspectives. But there's a lot of us, and we're all very keen. And big thanks to everybody for watching. Thanks to Jake and George and Curtis for chipping in with so many intelligent things. I think it's good as well because you all know the rules much better than me, so that's always good. If anyone has any rules queries, just put them in the comments below, and I'll ask these guys. They know everything.
I thought you were my rules guy in October. I thought you were.
I'm not the rules guy in October. I'm the hi. Yeah, it's down here. No, it's through that door. That's the guy I am. I'll do the rules bit. You'll have to draft in James or somebody for that. I'll be there like, yeah, definitely. I'll just go and ask Curtis. That's what I am. Break up some fights.
I love that. Can't wait to break up fights on tables 2 and 3.
Yep. Leave it. All right. Thanks very much, guys. And person watching, you can like and subscribe. Yeah, I remembered. I remembered before the end. All right. Thanks very much. See you next time.
Cheers.
Is
Bye.
Bye.